Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program. Today, we're diving into some intriguing developments around the globe. First up, Cambodia is making waves with its Bakong digital financial system, which aims to boost the use of the local Riel currency through cross-border QR code payments. This initiative could shift Cambodia's economy away from its heavy reliance on the US dollar, marking a significant step forward for the nation's financial independence. Stay tuned to find out more about how this system works and its potential impact on the region. Next, we're taking a closer look at Wall Street's latest move to speed up trade settlements. The US, along with Canada, Mexico, and Argentina, is transitioning to a T+1 settlement cycle, which means trades will now be settled in just one day instead of two. While this change aims to reduce trading costs and improve efficiency, it could also lead to some short-term hiccups and mismatches with other markets still operating on a T+2 cycle. We'll explore what this means for global traders and the potential risks involved. Lastly, we shift our focus to Hong Kong, where the government's decision to suspend a waste charging scheme has sparked a mix of praise and criticism. While some applaud the move as a display of political wisdom in response to public opposition, others point out the glaring gaps in policy execution. We'll delve into the details of this saga and discuss what it reveals about Hong Kong's approach to policymaking and implementation. Please stay tuned for more in-depth coverage of these stories and more. Nikkei Asia, the cross-border QR code payments facilitated by Cambodia's Bakong digital financial system are expected to enhance the use of the country's local currency, the Riel. Currently, over 80% of Cambodia's economy operates using the US dollar, but the Bakong system, which saw transactions worth $70 billion last year, is helping shift some of this activity to the Riel. Named after a famous Khmer temple, Bakong allows transactions in both Riel and dollars domestically, but cross-border payments with countries like Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and China require the use of Riel. This push towards the Riel is part of a broader strategy to establish an independent monetary policy for Cambodia, reducing the nation's reliance on the dollar. The central bank plans to extend Bakong's cross-border payment capabilities to India and Japan, aiming to further increase the use of the Riel and expand the number of Bakong users, which currently stands at about 10 million in a country of 17 million people. The system uses blockchain technology and is seen as a crucial step in modernizing Cambodia's financial infrastructure. The Sydney Morning Herald, Wall Street's shift to a T+1 settlement cycle, reducing the time to settle trades from 2 days to 1, is set to disrupt global trading practices. This change, also adopted by Canada, Mexico, and Argentina, aims to lower trading costs and capital requirements, making the settlement process more efficient and reliable. However, it introduces challenges, particularly for fund managers dealing with markets still operating on a T+2 cycle, such as those in Hong Kong or London. These managers will face tighter deadlines and increased risk of mismatches in equity and currency markets. The move to T+1 could also lead to higher fail rates in trade settlements, with the US stock market already experiencing a 4% fail rate. The ASX in Australia, which is considering a similar shift, anticipates significant impacts due to time zone differences with the US and Europe. The change was partly driven by the trading frenzy involving stocks like GameStop, which highlighted the need for more robust collateral management. While T+1 is expected to reduce systemic risk and capital requirements in the US, it will likely increase costs and complexity for international investors and may necessitate more automation in trading processes. South China Morning Post, Hong Kong's decision to suspend a controversial waste charging scheme has been met with mixed reactions, highlighting gaps in policy execution. The scheme, initially set to be implemented on August 1, faced significant public opposition due to limited recycling facilities and concerns over increased costs for care homes, patient advocacy groups, and the restaurant industry. Analysts praised the administration for its political wisdom in halting the scheme but criticized the execution and communication of the policy. The saga has exposed a lack of preparedness and skill among officials in explaining and implementing policies. For instance, a senior official's suggestion to saw broomsticks in half to fit designated rubbish bags caused public outrage. The waste charging scheme, first proposed 20 years ago, has been repeatedly delayed, reflecting broader issues in Hong Kong's policy-making processes. Critics argue that the government needs better channels to gather public opinion and more effective strategies to ensure successful implementation of policies. Despite the setback, the administration's willingness to change course in response to public feedback has been seen as a positive step, though it underscores the need for more robust planning and communication in future initiatives. SCMP opinion: the trial run of Hong Kong's waste charging scheme has been a significant letdown, with compliance rates dropping as low as 20% during the voluntary 2-month trial. The scheme, which required residents to use designated plastic bags for waste disposal, faced numerous issues including a lack of collection bins and inconvenient mobile bin operating hours. The financial burden of the plan was also a concern for low-income residents and businesses. The government's decision to delay the scheme's citywide launch twice and eventually shelve it was seen as pragmatic. However, with the city's landfills expected to be full by 2026, an effective waste reduction strategy remains crucial. The government is urged to study successful models from cities like Seoul, Taipei, and Germany, and to come back with a more viable plan that includes proper planning and education to address the looming waste crisis. South China Morning Post: Nathalia Lim and her partner almost saw their edutech startup Utopia collapse in 2023 due to a lack of funding in Malaysia. Despite their efforts, funding in Malaysia is often directed towards established firms rather than startups. Lim and other young entrepreneurs are now looking to Singapore, which has a mature startup ecosystem valued at $128 billion and has produced 18 unicorns over the past decade. Malaysia, on the other hand, has only produced one unicorn, Karsam. The Malaysian government has announced ambitious plans to become a top 20 startup hub by 2030, offering benefits like visa fee exemptions and tax breaks to attract unicorns. However, local founders feel unsupported, and many are moving to more promising ecosystems like Singapore. Despite recent efforts to attract venture capitalists, Malaysia still lags in providing the necessary support for startups to thrive. South China Morning Post: the Hong Kong Cricket Sixes could make a comeback in 2024, but officials stress that the government needs to improve sports facilities to rejuvenate the sport. The last edition of the tournament was held in 2017, and since then, it has been affected by the pandemic and a packed cricket calendar. Burji Shroff, chairman of the local cricket association, suggests hosting the Sixes alongside the Hong Kong Blitz to boost the sport's profile. However, the city's facilities, particularly the Tin Kwong Road Recreation Ground, are inadequate for international cricket. Limited access to this venue has hindered Hong Kong's competitiveness, causing the team to slip in global rankings. Shroff emphasizes the need for government support and major sponsorship to develop new grounds and improve existing ones. The association's strategic plan aims to make cricket accessible to all, but achieving this requires substantial investment in facilities and funding. South China Morning Post: wildlife officials in Hong Kong are planning to find a new home for a runaway emu if its owner remains unidentified. The bird, native to Australia, was captured after being spotted running through the streets and entering a housing estate in Tin Shui Wai. The Agricultural, Fisheries and Conservation Department stated that the emu is currently under observation at an animal management center. If no one claims the emu, the department will arrange for its adoption through an animal welfare organization, provided it is deemed healthy and fit by veterinary officers. The emu's unexpected appearance garnered significant attention, with police and animal welfare officers capturing it 3 hours after the first sighting. MT Green Garden Farm, located near where the emu was seen, reported no missing animals, though a previous emu from the farm had been lost and found earlier in the year. South China Morning Post, luxury home rents in 15 major cities increased at the slowest rate in over 3 years during the first quarter, with Singapore, Toronto, and Hong Kong experiencing weakened prices, according to Knight Frank's Prime Global Rental Index. Sydney, Auckland, and London saw the highest rent increases, with Sydney leading at 17.3%. The overall annual growth rate for luxury rents was 3.7%, the smallest since mid-2021 and significantly lower than the 12.4% surge in early 2022. Knight Frank's report highlighted that the rebalancing of supply and demand is crucial for the rental market, with expectations of strengthened demand later this year. Despite the slowdown, Hong Kong's luxury home market remains robust, driven by an influx of high-earning overseas talent and eased financing limits. The city's top talent pass scheme has already attracted nearly 2,000 professionals, contributing to a rise in luxury home deals and rental rates. South China Morning Post, Mongolian director Kgvajalam Purevokar continues to make waves in the film industry, following the success of her debut feature, City of Wind. The film, which premiered at the Venice International Film Festival and represented Mongolia at the Oscars, has won numerous awards at festivals worldwide. Purevokar, who has a master's in screenwriting, is now focusing on a short film titled A South-Facing Window, funded by a grant from the Asian Film Awards Academy's International Film Camp in Macau. The film explores the struggles of a young couple in Ulaanbaatar, reflecting on both their personal future and that of Mongolia. Purevokar's work often draws from her experiences growing up during Mongolia's economic transition in the 1990s, a time of significant upheaval and uncertainty. Despite living in Portugal, she remains deeply connected to her homeland, using her films to document and share the unique stories of Mongolia with the world. South China Morning Post, at the heart of Hong Kong's international story. In a city as dynamic and diverse as Hong Kong, the narrative that defines it on the world stage is ever-changing. Traditionally known for its hustle, bustle, and towering skyscrapers, Hong Kong's story is now being rewritten by a new generation of trailblazers, innovators, creatives, and global citizens who are shaping the city's future in unprecedented ways. This evolving international story is at the heart of a bold new marketing campaign launched by the South China Morning Post, SCMP. The campaign highlights the people and perspectives transforming Hong Kong's global image. Kevin Huang, SCMP's chief operating officer, emphasized the importance of telling Hong Kong's story to both local and global audiences. Influential leaders in the arts, culture, travel, and business sectors are partnering with SCMP to craft this narrative. For instance, Angel Seong-lu, director of Art Basel Hong Kong, noted the city's role as a cultural hub and superconnector, while Edward Bell of Cathay Pacific highlighted Hong Kong's unique geographic position that makes it a central travel hub. These partnerships aim to amplify Hong Kong's story to the rest of the world. South China Morning Post, Hong Kong hones in on Middle East, Indonesia to attract family offices as city steps up efforts, InvestHK says. The Middle East and Indonesia are emerging as key targets for Hong Kong's efforts to attract family offices, according to Jason Fong, global head of family office at InvestHK. While China remains Hong Kong's biggest market for family offices, the city is adopting an international outlook to bolster its status as a global hub. Fong highlighted the opportunities in Indonesia, where large family businesses are familiar with Hong Kong but unaware of its extensive expertise in family office services. High-level visits to the Middle East by Hong Kong officials have also started to pay off, with more wealthy individuals considering setting up family offices in the city. Hong Kong's simple and transparent tax regime, with new tax incentives introduced last year, makes it an attractive destination compared to its main rival, Singapore, which has stricter rules. Paul Ho from EY suggested further government initiatives, such as a hotline for tax-related inquiries, to facilitate the process for family offices. Additionally, InvestHK is exploring the setup of an art storage facility at Hong Kong International Airport to encourage art transactions, further enhancing the city's appeal. South China Morning Post, China C919, after a year of domestic flights, preps its pitch for Western endorsement. Near Shanghai's Pudong Airport, the C919, China's new generation airliner, stands as a symbol of the country's ambition to become a global player in aviation manufacturing. Following the ill-fated Y-10, the C919 represents a significant leap forward, having been in development for 15 years and now capable of carrying up to 192 passengers. With a year of commercial flights under its belt, the C919 has proven its viability domestically, operating routes with China Eastern Airlines and carrying over 245,000 passengers. However, achieving international success remains a challenge. The plane needs airworthiness certification from foreign authorities, such as the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, to compete with established giants like Airbus and Boeing. Analysts suggest that while the C919 has had a smooth start, it faces hurdles in proving its profitability and meeting stringent international standards. Despite these challenges, COMAC is optimistic about obtaining EASA certification by 2025. To bolster its marketability, COMAC has modeled the C919 after the Airbus A320, ensuring ease of operation for pilots familiar with Western aircraft. The journey ahead is complex, with geopolitical factors and technological gaps posing additional hurdles, but China remains committed to its long-term vision of creating a fully homegrown passenger jet. Nikkei Asia reports that Hong Kong, once a shopping haven for mainland Chinese, is now seeing its residents flock to Shenzhen for better bargains and cheaper services. A subway ride from Hong Kong to Shenzhen is only about 50 minutes and costs 50 Hong Kong dollars. Shenzhen offers a plethora of foreign and local brands, along with affordable street food, making it a popular destination. In 2023, Hong Kongers made around 53 million trips to mainland China, mainly to Shenzhen, boosting the city's consumer spending by 8% to 1.05 trillion yuan. This trend is causing a decline in Hong Kong's retail sector, with a notable drop in retail sales and the closure of long-standing grocery chains. The strong Hong Kong dollar, pegged to the US dollar, has further exacerbated the situation by making mainland goods and services more attractive. This shift is expected to continue, impacting Hong Kong's commercial real estate market and local businesses. The Sydney Morning Herald delves into the trial of exiled Chinese tycoon Guo Wengui, accused of a $1.5 billion fraud. Known for his luxurious lifestyle, Guo is on trial in New York, facing 11 charges of fraud and racketeering. Prosecutors allege he swindled investors through bogus schemes, including a crypto project and a social media platform. Guo, who has a strong online following for his criticism of the Chinese Communist Party, allegedly used the funds for extravagant purchases like a $37 million yacht and a $26 million mansion. His defense argues that being wealthy is not a crime and that Guo has been targeted by the Chinese government, which has seized his assets and detained his family. The trial has garnered significant attention, with the jury being kept anonymous and escorted by U.S. Marshals due to security concerns. Guo's connections to former Trump advisor Steve Bannon and his lavish spending habits are central to the case, painting a complex picture of a man who straddles the line between political activism and alleged criminality. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.